What does an RV water heater anode rod do anyway? Let's talk about it. Today, I'm changing mine out. Your anode rod exists to protect the metal lining inside your water heater tank from corrosion or explosion over time. My travel trailer is a 2012 and I have no idea when the anode rod was replaced.
Oh my God,
I didn't replace it myself. I'm not sure if the owners prior to me replaced it. So more than likely, the anode rod has been in there for at least 9 years. Now, is it anode or anoid? Like solenoid, is it like anoid or anode? Anode rod. Water heater anode rod. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me which one it is, anode or anoid. Under normal use, the sediment deposits will build up inside your water heater tank. The sediment deposits and mineral deposits will cause slower recovery times, less hot water, and higher energy costs. This video is for a Suburban water heater tank. If your RV has a different type tank, you should refer to your owner's manual for that appliance for proper maintenance. Now, if this is something new to you, you should ask yourself 3 questions. How often should you replace an anode rod in your RV water heater? You should check the anode rod once a year. You should replace it every 4 to 5 years. Does your RV water heater require an anode rod? If it's an Atwood, I expect it does not. If it's a Suburban water heater, then more than likely, it does need an anode rod. The anode rod is self-sacrificing. It gives itself up for all the chemicals in there that are trying to cause the corrosion and affect your lining. So it'll attract it and it'll break down and corrode. So when it's 75% corroded, it's time to replace it. How can you tell if your anode rod is bad? Smelly or discolored hot water is the first sign that something has gone wrong with your anode rod. If the anode rod is corroded beyond 75%, it may not protect the lining in your hot water heater. And here are the materials and tools you'll need to replace your water heater anode rod. Duct tape, a plastic kitchen bag, a 1 1/16 inch socket, a 6-inch ratchet, a 6-inch extension, a 6-inch ratchet. Nope, just a plain old ratchet will do. A flushing wand, a 3/4 inch pipe plug, this fancy PVC pipe, I'll explain that a little bit later, a wire brush, a little Teflon tape, a little bit of mineral oil. You don't need anything that big. And 3 gallons of white vinegar. And of course, last but not least, is the replacement anode rod for your water heater. And a funnel, unless you got a steady hand. And it's probably good to have a source of water and a water hose. Now, you don't want to drain the tank if the water is hot. So the night before that you're planning on doing this, go ahead and turn the water heater off so that the water is cool when you go to drain it. Turn off the gas, turn off the electric, and turn off the water supply. Open up the faucet, run some hot and cold water through there to relieve the pressure inside your water system. Remove your water tank access panel. Now be careful, the water still could be hot, the tank could have a little pressure on it. Using your 1 1/16 inch socket, an extension and ratchet, go ahead and loosen up that anode rod and drain out all that water. I never imagined I'd have that much calcium in that tank. So I am glad that I pulled the anode rod and checked it. Now the anode rod looked okay. However, there's a lot of calcium in there. I thought it might be the lining of the tank, but I don't believe it is. I believe it's just calcium. Maybe I need to rethink my water filter. When it's completely drained out, go ahead and connect that spray wand to your water hose and spray it out real good. Make sure you get in there and get any mineral deposits out of that tank. Go ahead and inspect the tank. Look in there the best you can and make sure there's no mineral deposits that are too big that won't come out of the tank. They'll have to be softened up and broken down. If you don't have any mineral deposits and you don't think that there's a problem inside your tank with mineral deposits, I think at this point you don't have to do anything with the vinegar and let it sit overnight to break down the deposits. Now, I did call an RV dealership and talk to them a little bit about that, and they said exactly what I just said. If there's no mineral deposits, you probably don't need to put the vinegar in there to break anything down or to sanitize the tank or any of that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and put the vinegar in, number one, because I already bought it, and number two, I don't know what's in there. It's a new camper to me, and I've been pulling it around for 9 years, and I want to make sure that if there's anything in there, it'll dissolve and I can flush it out a little bit later. Now, for large deposits that do not break down, we're going to go ahead and put some vinegar in it. Now, I have a 6-gallon water heater tank, and it says to put a solution of 50-50 water and vinegar in, let it set for several hours or overnight, it's best, to break those down, and then we're going to flush it out again. Okay, now I'm going to use this fancy PVC tool that was made up. I saw it on another video, and like I said before, I'll leave a link down in the description to his video, and you can go over there and watch that. Maybe you get some more ideas or a little bit more information. But I'm going to go ahead and install this. I still know there's some sediment in there, and hopefully this vinegar and water will break it down. I'll let it sit overnight, and we'll come back and finish this thing up tomorrow. Protect the side of your camper with a piece of plastic and a little bit of duct tape so that when the vinegar runs out, it doesn't stain the side of your camper. Once you've poured all the vinegar and the water into the tank, close off the pressure relief valve and let it set several hours, or best thing would be to let it set overnight. Well, it's the next day. It set in there overnight, and I hope it broke down all those mineral deposits. Remove the PVC special tool and let all the vinegar and water drain out. Flush your tank several times with your flushing wand to make sure that any sediments or water or vinegar is flushed out of the tank. Using a small wire brush or a fiber brush of some sort, clean up the threads, remove all the old Teflon and any corrosion that might exist on the threads. Rub a little mineral oil on the threads, and that'll help with corrosion, and also lubricate the threads so that when you install the anode rod. Apply a little Teflon tape to the anode threads. Install it by hand until it's properly threaded. You do not want to cross thread this into the tank. You may have to buy a new tank if you do that. Using your socket, ratchet, and extension, go ahead and tighten it up until it's tight. Turn on the electric, turn on the gas, and turn on your water supply. Flush out any air in the water system by turning on your hot water and cold water faucets. Now go ahead and turn on the hot water heater. The total cost of this DIY project is right up there. And if you follow these simple steps, you may prevent problems and extend the life of your hot water heater and not end up like me. I had a lot of calcium in my tank, and that's a story of in itself for another video. And until later, thanks for your time. Bye.